Yeah, this should be a real one, Jack.
Who do you think's going to win it?
I'm not going to pick any of these matches. They're too rough.
They've been close all the way, haven't they?
Sure.
Hi, how you doing? Jack Buck and Whitey Harris, and Top Star Bowling. We're very happy that you're here, and you're going to enjoy this session. Come on along. Hi again. Yes, it's time for Top Star Bowling from the very beautiful Marlboro Lanes here in the village of Marlboro, just southwest of the city of St. Louis, the gateway to the west. I'm Jack Buck, and I have the pleasure of introducing the bowlers to you. And by the way, some of the ladies will be along to show you their prowess in this field of bowling a bit later on. Whitey Harris is back there. You'll meet him after a while. And before introducing the bowlers for this particular session, let me tell you a bit about the match. It's 3 games. Total pins counts, $1,000 to the winner. And in fact, when a fellow's on the show for the first time, he's bowling for $1,500, for it's $500 to the loser. So if he comes back twice, he has at least $1,500. King Louis Shirts has provided $2,500 more in prize money, $1,500 for the high series during a 13-week period, and $1,000 for high game during the 13-week period. We've been having a lot of fun here at the Marlboro Lanes. Very beautifully appointed house, 24 Brunswick lanes, as you see, and the bowlers have really been hitting them. One fella has been very consistent. He's back this week for the 4th time. He's defeated 3 opponents. He feels very much at home in as much as he is from Kansas City, holds a lot of Missouri titles, and he's bowled 4 perfect games during his bowling career. He's come to be quite a popular favorite over the weeks here. Bob Chase from Kansas City. Bob, good to see you again.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
I saw that new car, and your wife told me about that new deep freeze and the mink coat.
She's got it all spent.
Yeah. But you're driving the car.
Well, that's a little pleasure out of it anyway.
Good to have you back once again.
Thank you.
His opponent for today, and by the way, this is the King of the Hill format. The winner stays, the loser goes his merry way. His opponent is from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm not going to say he's been around for a long time, but he was technical advisor to the Wright brothers. And with regard to bowling, the only thing I have to mention is he's a member of bowling's Hall of Fame, Steve Nagy. Steve, good to see you.
Good to be here.
This young man's been around long enough, don't you say?
Yes, sir.
I'm speaking for you, not for myself,
Okay.
because I don't care who wins. 1,000 to the winner, 500 to the loser. Bob Chase, Steve Nagy, shake hands.
Okay.
Come out fighting. Good luck, Steve.
Okay, boy.
We're all set to go with our first game, Bob Chase and Steve Nagy on Top Star Bowling. Steve Nagy won the toss, and he chose to have Bob Chase lead it off. Bob selected 21, and here's his first delivery in his 4th week, and you can't start any better than that. Bob Chase with a strike, and Steve Nagy comes up on 22. Steve Nagy, the challenger today on Top Star Bowling, as they go for $1,000, the winner's share. Let's see if Steve can match the strike of Chase, and a little bit high, leaves a 4-7. With me at the microphone is Whitey Harris, a member of the Brunswick Advisory Staff of Champions, a gentleman who's very well known not only in this country but on the international scene as well because of his many travels connected with bowling. Didn't take Bob Chase very long to get that first strike, did it? Or Steve Nagy long to get his first mark. Now, don't be in a bad mood, Whitey.
I think, Jack, we're going to see something with Steve here. If you recall, Top Star Bowling shows in the past, he puts on a good show. He's definitely a showman.
Very colorful character, and he backs it up with fine scoring. And, whoa, almost had the 10. Leaves the 8 as the 10 was late in falling. Pretty good hit, too, on it.
Yeah, and as we tried to bring to you some of the things, Steve, on the way back, said, thank you. I guess that was for that 10 pin that dropped.
Top Star Bowling is an ABC-sanctioned event. The lanes here at Marlboro are certified by the American Bowling Congress. Steve now has 19 with a spare in the second frame, and Bob Chase, who struck in the first frame, comes up. As we pointed out in the past, these are the very same conditions that you and your family would encounter if you went out as of a weekend to bowl. And by the way, that's a good idea. If it's been a while, we'll dust off that old ball and do something about it. And try to lay them in there like Bob Chase has been laying them in there. And he fails to carry. Could well have had a double. Everybody moans except Steve Nagy, and the 7-pin remains. Chase has vanquished 3 very formidable opponents: Bill Lillard, Joe Joseph, and Don Ellis in 3 consecutive weeks. He's averaged 208 in so doing. He gets his mark in the second frame. The winner of this match will be back next week to take on a young upstart by the name of Ray Orff, O-R-F, a fellow who's made quite a mark in bowling the past few years. How old is he now, Whitey?
Ray is about 21, Jack, and he's been doing quite well on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
He struck on this lane before, and he hits it again. Chase with a strike, a spare, and a strike. Steve Nagy has started with 2 spares. This is a 3-game match, total pins count. And as they shoot against one another, they're also shooting for high game and high series in a 13-week period, and additional prize money provided by King Louis shirts. He is on the head pin, and he leaves a 6-10. What do you know about Steve and his bowling accomplishments, Whitey, other than his colorful approach to the game?
Well, I think some of his outstanding features is as actually a captain of the various teams that he was involved in. And, of course, this always takes a leader, and he's showing those qualities. Plus, he's doing a lot of the instruction work, which is so important today in bowling.
He has 37 through the second frame with a spare up. He has yet to strike, and he's on 21 now, where Bob Chase has hit them twice. Steve, a BPAA National All-Star champion in '55, elected to the Hall of Fame in 1963, and a good hit. And that hit and the strike is a tribute to the good ball that he delivers, because it just barely got to the head pin, a rather thin hit, but drove on through, carried for him. Twice Steve Nagy was voted Bowler of the Year, 1952 and 1955. There's another strike for Bob Chase in the first double. He has 3 strikes out of 4 frames.
Interesting note on Steve, too, Jack, is that some years ago when television took over, in a sense, bowling, or bowling took over television, why, this Steve Nagy rolled a perfect game in one of the first shows.
Let's see what Bob Chase can get 3, and he's right there. Boy, this fellow wants to come back another year. We're doing all this talking about Steve Nagy, and while we're jabbering up here, Whitey, Bob Chase is racking up the strikes. He's got 4 out of 5 frames. He's got a 3-bagger working, and he's about to get Steve Nagy down. Steve wants to get a double right here.
You know, this could be the new partner of Bogey and Moran's here if he keeps winning every week.
They are the co-proprietors here at Marlboro. There's a strike for Nagy as he answers the call and gets his second strike, and he makes it a double. And so Chase has 40 through the second frame with a 3-bagger working. Steve Nagy has 57 through the third frame, and he has a double up. Mr. Nagy is after a 3-bagger. He's dancing around over there, and it worked for him. I think he knew he was going to be a little bit thin, Whitey, and he thought the ball needed some help, and so he provided it. So each has a 3-bagger going. And Bob is up again. Bob is from Kansas City. He's 5'11", weighs 185. He was a runner-up in the BPAA All-Star Tournament in 1960. Whoops, he crossed over. Leaves a 310, or leaves a 3, almost had the baby split. Gives him 99 through the fourth. And In winning his 3 matches so far, he totaled 638, 568, which was still good enough to win, and then 673.
Did you notice anything then, Jack?
I wasn't paying particular attention, no.
Well, I mean in regards to his position. In the past weeks, Bob has been having trouble where the ball has been dropping off. And
I was shooting to the right side, the 10 pin and so forth, yeah. Trying to get on a strike again. The way is open for Mr. Nagy to get right up there again. And the 2 pin is left. Didn't quite get up there that time. I think Bob is playing the 2 lanes a bit differently. 21 in just a bit. It is throwing almost right at the pocket. And 22, he is bowing the ball a bit. He has 138 through the 6th. And a spare in the 7th. Funny how these scores add up in bowling, Whitey, when you avoid those splits and misses, huh?
Well, those turkeys take care of that, Jack. But
Steve's looking for 4, and he's on the head pin, and he leaves the 310.
Jack, the Brunswick pin finder there brings that out real clear, the pins that are setting, and the light remains on. And, of course, this is a good example to see how a pro bowler shoots for this baby split. He stands to the left on the approach, and I imagine Steve will go straight to the opening, which would be between the 3 and the 10.
He's there. And boy, in competition like this, why, the baby split, you're expected to pick that one, aren't you, Whitey, in this caliber of play?
Yes, Jack, but it's surprising. The pros pick the 5-7 more than they do the baby split.
So now we're in the 8th frame, each trying to get back on a strike. Steve didn't get there, leaves a 2-4-5. They're both throwing rather hard.
I think that pitch, Jack, which you said that he had been dated back to the Wright brothers, he really took off with that one. He fired that ball.
Now you have to cover all 3 pins here. This is not hard to get, but it's easy to miss. Does that make sense? That makes sense. It's not hard to get, but it's easy to miss.
I understood it, Jack. I mean, if that's what you're asking me the question.
Well, I don't. Now Bob Chase is up. Steve Nagy has 152 through the 7th with a spare up. With a hit here, Bob Chase can maintain his slight advantage. He's out, he's up, he's in, and leaves the 4 pin. Drove in just a bit too high. Bob Chase from Kansas City looking for his 4th win and his 4th $1,000 victory. And the privilege of staying around to meet Ray Orff.
Jack, it was very nostalgic when you introduced those brownies, and I started to look around for our old St. Louis Brown ball team.
Now, these are different brownies. The youngsters are enjoying the bowling, too. I tell you, in St. Louis, as in most cities around the country, the youngsters have really taken to the sport of bowling primarily because of the attention given them by the proprietors. They have instructional leagues, and the youngsters are made welcome. It used to be that whenever the kids went places where an adult sport was being carried out, where they try to get rid of the youngsters. Here they want them. Uh-oh. A few moans and groans. 4, 7, 9, 10. Why don't you get down there and get it for him, Whitey? What do you do here? You punt, huh?
Jack, you're right, punt, but I'm sure that Bob Chase will stand to the right. He'll aim for the 2 pins on the left, which is a 4-7, and he'll have to go to the left of that 4 pin and slide it over so that it ricochets off the 9 pin and hits the 10. And he did it.
Came very close. He got that 4 pin. That just shows how precise you have to be with that ball. Well, that's the first open, as Bob Chase is confronted with a split in the 9th frame. He got those 2 pins, which is very important. Now Steve Nagy trying to take advantage of that. He yelled for that Brooklyn, but didn't get it. I don't know quite what he yelled, but he wanted it.
No, Jack, what he hollered was split. So evidently when he released the ball, which these top bowlers do, they can feel if they put anything on it or not.
So the 7-pin. And a chance for Nagy to take a 10-pin lead. And he gets it. So the difference in the match right now is that split in the 9th frame for Bob Chase. Chase has been very consistent. This is Steve Nagy's first outing here on Top Star Bowling. He's in the roll-off. There's one for him to work on. Giving him 191 in the 9th frame and that 10-pin lead. He'll want to hit a couple more times, so he'll be certain to be out in front when this one is over.
I think it'll be interesting to watch, too, noticing how Steve, like all pros, looks down on the approach as he starts out, Jack. He's a spot bowler, and when he hits that foul line, if that ball's going into the pocket, he's ready to take off.
No, he's not there. He's not there. So the best he can do is 211. And Bob Chase, if he went all the way, could make up that deficit, and we could have a tie game here. In the first game of our 3-game match where total pins count. So there's a 211 for Steve Nagy, and not a bad start. Now Bob Chase has to hit 3 in order to catch him. Chase has been behind in his previous matches, I might point out, and he has come from behind to win.
He's only had 1 strike on this lane, Jack, in this match.
He turned that one over. He got good stuff on that one, Whitey. He really had that ball rolling nicely. You could see as he let it go.
Yeah, especially, Jack, on a hit like that, when you have the pins fall back into the pit rather than be swept off the deck.
What does that indicate?
That what you just described it, that the ball is very effective. It wasn't naturally a hard-thrown ball.
Now he'll try to hit that same line again. He's playing this one pretty far outside. And he's there again. Now he needs one more and we'll have a tie game. He tied Joe Joseph in a previous match, didn't he, in one of the particular games?
Yes, in that second game. And if I recall, I think that he had to catch a double in that game, Jack, in which to do it. So this fellow's getting set to stay here a long time when you can pull a game out like this.
Steve Nagy has already finished the first game with 211. And Bob Chase needs 10 count right here. And he has 211. Steve Nagy throws a towel at him. Even with all this money involved, they can have and do have a lot of fun. First game, Bob Chase, 211. Steve Nagy, same thing. Well, the trend has been set for a lot of excitement here in our Top Star Bowling session. Steve Nagy and Bob Chase each deadlocked with 211. And I take time right here to let Mr. Nagy know that in previous matches, which Bob Chase eventually won, he trailed at the end of the first game. You're glad that I told you. You needed that information. It's 3 games, total pins. We're through with the first game, tied at 211 with Bob Chase and Steve Nagy, and more coming up on Top Star Bowling. Well, Bob Chase was our leadoff man at the first game, and Steve Nagy was going to let him lead off again. He got almost shook up with that towel throwing business. I remember, what was it, last year, Whitey, when Steve was way behind in the match and he started doing some trick shots for us at the end?
I think it was one of the most fantastic conclusions of a match ever on bowling television.
Steve trying to get off and running on 21. He's pretty relaxed. The 8-pin fell for him. Bob Chase had 7 strikes in the first game, and Steve Nagy had 5. The difference was 1 open, a split, which Chase came up with in the 9th frame. A wide open one, too, the 4-7-9-10, which he couldn't cover. Steve Nagy had 1 split, and that was the baby split. He picked that one. And so he had no opens.
Jack, just to digress on...
Oh, I didn't think he was going to come up with that one, Whitey. Did you?
He really spilled it that time. Jack, I'd like to when we were discussing Nagy before and recalling that incident on Top Star Bowling, you recall the way he looked back here? It was a 9th frame, and in despair he said, "What am I getting $500 for?" And that's when he went into these trick shots.
He had figured that he hadn't earned his money, and so he went to work too. I do recall. He's quite a guy. So they each have a strike in the first frame. Who's going to double? Bob Chase is going to double.
Those Brunswick score kings on that hit are ready to be kindled and packed away the way he hit that, Jack.
Steve is in his 50s, Whitey. I've been kidding him a bit about his age here, but I imagine it's difficult to keep the legs in shape when you get to that age bracket.
That's true, although Steve has been active, Jack. He relies a little bit of the exercise out on the golf course, too.
Yeah, he matches the double of Bob Chase. And I imagine that bowling has kept his legs young, to use a phrase. Whitey?
Yeah, definitely. And, of course, as we talk about our young audience here, when we go all the way into the senior divisions today where folks are bowling at 60 and 70 years old.
Hey, there's 3. 3 for Steve Nagy. I think the big thing with regard to the youngsters is the coordination that it helps develop, because this is the one game, well, I can't say this one any more than another, but coordination is what you need in order to do well in bowling, and it's a good thing for the youngsters to get involved early and know what they're doing.
Well, it's not so much, it's that too, Jack, but also the fun of bowling too, rather than pointing them to be champions.
Can Bob Chase get 3? No, he's on the head. And in Brooklyn, there's 3. He's going to get another towel thrown at him. So they each have a 3-bagger to start this one. How'd you like to see 2 perfect games?
Did you notice how Bob Chase apologized to Steve Nagy for getting that?
Well, maybe before this one is over, Steve will get one of his own. Look, he was mentioning about the fun of bowling, Whitey, and here these people are bowling for a lot of money. $1,000 for the winner, $500 the loser, and they're having fun at the same time. So I think it brings out a good point in bowling. Now, Chase going for 4, and the 4-pin. Instead of 4 strikes, he gets the 4-pin. This match started all even at 2-11. That is, the second game of this match did.
Bob stands to the right on the approach, Jack, when going for pins on the left.
Covers it nicely.
Steve is standing to the left of the center dot by about 8 or 9 boards, Jack, and playing this right lane.
Boy, he's way in. He walks a bit toward the middle, and he threw that one out. A thin hit didn't carry for him. 2, 4, 5, 7.
He was giving that ball a good talking to. He was giving that, get up, get up.
So they both got off the strikes after 3 in a row. I'm not going to say anything. I didn't hear Steve say anything. Just ran by it. And that's the way to get back on. So Steve has 84 through the 4th with a strike up, and now Bob Chase is working on a spare.
Jack, it's interesting to note, actually, he is placing his foot on the same spot where Nagy throws and goes over the same arrow.
And leaves a 6-10. He didn't walk quite toward the middle of the lane as much as Nagy did, though. Their approach was different.
Yeah, it didn't look like. I think that that's probably why he did pull the ball in that time, Jack. He wasn't in the same line to the foul line like these bowlers have to be. You have to end up at that foul line square to the line.
I don't think in this case that one bowler would affect the other's style. They wouldn't be inclined to copy one another. There's the spare. So Bob Chase has 97 through the 4th frame with a spare up. Steve Nagy has 84 through the 4th frame with a strike up. And Chase has a lead of 13 pins. Working on a spare, he leaves the 4-pin. He left the 4-pin there on the back in the 4th frame on the same lane.
It's a good hit. Jack, I did something which you didn't know in the warm-up. I had a couple ladies write down a question on some bowling, and this is a good example here to watch Bob Chase.
There's his spare.
I really did get this from a lady. How do you perfect a follow-through? And of course, Bob Chase is a true example of follow-through because he really reaches out that hand for the spot he's aiming at.
Steve Nagy leaves a 4-pin. So they each started with 3 strikes. And haven't been able to get one since until the 5th when Nagy got one. That is, Chase has 3 spares in a row. Nagy was going for a double that time, but left the 4-pin. He could have used that hit to about even the match. Looks like we've got a dandy on our hands here. Looks like we're going to have an exciting 3rd game. It's Bob Chase from Kansas City. He's won 3 consecutive weeks. This is his 4th appearance in Top Star Bowling here at their Marlboro Lanes. And Steve Nagy from Cleveland, who is the challenger this week. And the winner meets Ray Orff. Steve is working on a spare and 5-4-7. It's an 8-pin count on that spare.
You know, the amazing thing about bowling, Jack, are these are the top pros, and yet they started off hitting strikes, and then all of a sudden it leaves them, whatever it is, the timing or something. And I guess this is true of any average bowler.
Bob Chase has 116 through the 5th with a spare up, and Steve Nagy has 122 through the 6th, likewise with a spare up. Now it's the 7th frame of the 2nd game for Bob Chase. Chase has a spare up. He has the lead by some 12 pins in this match. And he's going to be high on the head pin. And he leaves the 3-6. Whitey, we haven't talked about the A2 Brunswick automatic in this session here.
I think it'll be a good time, Jack, because we'll try to observe if Chase rolls the ball, strikes the pin, and watch. By the time he returns to the terminal here, that ball will be ready.
Meanwhile, he got the 3-6. He comes back and around, dries his hand for just an instant, and here's his ball. You don't want to bowl any more quickly than that.
No, Jack, this is in accord with the big program like Zip and Postal, the new code system. Well, that's where this is. That ball zips back there.
Chase working on another spare. Can't get on the strike again. He started with 3 strikes, and had one since, but he hasn't opened. Steve Nagy started with 3 strikes, had one later on in the same game, but he had an open in the 4th frame as he came up with a split. Hence the advantage on the part of Chase, as both sorted with 2-11. Going for the 6-10, and he almost chopped that one off. Almost ran right by that 10-pin. And he's done that a few times during the 3 weeks that he's been here, despite the fact he's won. So that was the 8th frame for Chase. And now a strike here would put Nagy in a good position to catch his opponent. And he's about due for a strike, I'd say, but he's high again. Leaves the 4-7-9. That's his 2nd split. As you mentioned earlier, Whitey, it's peculiar how one fella starts to strike, the other will come back and strike. And the other gets on spares, and it seems that his opponent will do the same thing.
And I don't think that they watch each other's line, Jack. It's just something, I guess, physically that happens.
He takes the 2 pins down, the 4-7, but it appeared from his actions there at the approach that he was hoping to get a little action from that 4-pin on the 9. But that's his 2nd open. That's quite an example to see. There's his strike in the 9th frame. So he has a miss and a split, but a strike going in the 9th. Chase has not yet bowled in the 9th frame. So this one's going down to the wire, too. Chase working on a spare, bowling in the 9th frame. He seems to have lost his lower, and he comes up with a split. 4, 6, 9, 10. What would you say that is? What, a lack of concentration? Or?
Well, that's the most possible, the largest split he could give with the 7-pin down. Yeah, I think he probably just aimed the ball at the head pin.
So he goes for the 3 pins, and he opens for the first time. And inasmuch as Steve Nagy has a strike going in the 9th frame, well, this one could be very, very even. Steve could have 208, Bob Chase could have 207 if they both strike out in the 10th. We're in the roll-off of the 2nd game now. Chase trying to give Nagy something to shoot at.
Remember the lesson we were explaining about following through? You could see his hand. It followed right on through to where the ball ended, right into the nose or the bugle.
In other words, just turned it over.
He just, well, turned it over and guided it into the nose.
I didn't know what to say when he had split, and the lady in front of me said, "Goodness." I'll let that suffice. So that's the end of his 2nd game. Bob Chase ends with 186 and 397. And now Steve Nagy with an excellent opportunity here. Nagy is working on a strike, trying to double. Pretty good ball. That one really plowed through there. I'm certain that our audience is aware of the fact that these good bowlers leave very few 5 pins. Very few.
See if Steve starts to run this time, Jack, because this is an important strike.
Yeah, he drifted out of there. He got his double. And they roll off 3 strikes in a row. And one more for 208. And a 22-pin victory. And a 22-pin lead. So the reign of Bob Chase here on Top Star Bowling may be about to come to a close unless he can get red hot in the 3rd game. And 207. So Steve took advantage of it. And mind you, now he had a split in the 8th frame. But here comes his opponent, Bob Chase, with splits in the 9th and 10th. Chase had 211, 186, 397. Nagy 211, 207, 418 at the end of the 2nd game. At the end of 2 games here on Top Star Bowling, Steve Nagy has a 21-pin advantage over Bob Chase. And ordinarily, at this point in the proceedings, we interview an outstanding celebrity who happens to be with us. Now, in this session, we have someone who is not outstanding, nor are they a celebrity. Whitey Harris, come down here. You've been hiding your girth back of that booth up there, and we want to see let the people know just how big you were.
Well, thank you, Jack. And, I think a little thing to note, and you've got me so filled up with statistics, that actually the difference in strikes favored Nagy. Nagy's got 2 more strikes than Bob Chase. Now, you thought I was going to come out here and be funny and everything else, but I'm real serious today.
So, Steve Nagy, that about makes the difference for the 21-pin advantage. Is that all you have to say?
Yes, and I think it's nice that we have the Brownies here and everything else, and my fan club over there, I wish we could put this on the air because they've been wonderful to me.
Go back up there. Hey, let's get going. A lot of money on the line, so we want to get back to Top Star Bowling. Bob Chase gets us started in the 3rd game. And he gets started. He's 21 pins down. And nothing less than that would have been good for Bob. As Whitey pointed out, Steve Nagy had 7 strikes to 3 by Chase in the 2nd game, whereas Chase had hit more in the 1st game, 7-5. Steve finished with 3 in a row in the 2nd game. He's there. They each started the 2nd game with 3 strikes. Now they each get on a strike here in the 3rd game. Sometimes here in Top Star Bowling, when we have time remaining at the close of the proceedings, we have a little fun. Showing you just how rapidly these bowlers could bowl if there were the line to, what with the A2 automatics, ball return. Maybe that'll be the case today. Steve Nagy trying for a double. He's there. He's not about to let go of that lead.
Jack, I was just checking into Steve's record. He has 6 perfect games, and it's interesting. We have here, and constantly, I'm going to plug St. Louis, a man that shot 4 800 series and also 5 300s. His name is Ken Rothermick. So St. Louis is pretty proud of having so many great bowlers.
Bob Chase starting for his double. He's high. And he leaves a 6-10. Mighty wise, sometimes when they're high, they leave on the left side, the 4, the 4-7. Sometimes when they drive in high, they leave on the other side of the lane.
The ball deflects, Jack, actually off the pin. Now, that's a strange thing to say. A 16-pound ball can be deflected off the approximate weight of a pin, say 3, 4, or 3 5s. But that's what's happened.
I don't think he was trying to cover it that way, but he did. So a spare for Chase in the second frame.
Remember how he told you the other day about the way he was going to change his angle?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got his ball breaking to the left. Well, that's what these pros can do, Jack, when they do adjust.
Pretty much has to hit one here. Leaves a 6-10 again. Giving him a 38 in the second frame. Steve Nagy studying the scoreboard as he looks over to his left. Visualizing all the possibilities in this match. Bob Chase, we remind you, has won the past 3 weeks, but he's behind in this one. Previously, he was way over to the right. The last time, he was over to the left. Now he chops it.
What do you think must be going through his mind now? How the next time he's going to approach bowling at the pins on the right?
I think he's more concerned right now about what Steve Nagy is going to do right here. 4-7.
You were remarking, Jack, about saying about it, Steve's age and everything else, but yet due to his fine condition, he can actually give that ball a flip because he really had a lot of speed on that last ball. I think it's probably the excitement and plus the amount of money that's involved.
There's a spare, however, as opposed to the open that Bob Chase came up with in the third frame.
Steve, like all pros, watches where he stands on the approach. He's left center about two or three more dots. Pretty good mixer there, Jack, and looked like he was going to have the 5-7, but Steve, I think, mentioning before, I guess he knows the hunt's on for that money, and this, I think this generates a little bit of excitement and gives them a little more push when they're going down the stretch.
He's picked up 20 more pins. He's ahead by 41 right at the moment. There's his spare in the fourth frame. I bet you right now, before he starts, Bob Chase will be at that approach for quite a few seconds before he takes that first step. Because he has to bear down now.
He's studying.
That's it. Even before he gets up there. He's taking more time than he has taken throughout the entire match. Now he starts. Gets it out. Follow through, and that's what happens when you think. 6-7-10. Chase had 2 splits at the close of the second game after having won in the first game. And now after missing in the third, he comes up with a split here in the fourth. 6-7-10, he gets 2 pins.
Audience seems to be wanting to encourage Bob.
He's in trouble. He's He's in his 5th frame. And there's one for him to work on. Maybe he'll be able to do something with that 5th frame strike. Steve Nagy, meanwhile, hasn't opened, and he's working on a spare.
That time, Jack, was the smooth, effortless Bob Chase that was striking in the other games. Sometimes it takes a while for these fellas to get back to that stride.
That's just what we needed to get a little more excitement here. But I'm sure Steve Nagy wasn't inclined in that direction. He's not really concerned about the excitement as he is about the money, but he comes up with the 7-10.
Jack, so often in bowling clinics throughout the country, the average bowlers are interested in the 7-10, how many times it's picked. But we'll just see what... This is the only way that pin can be picked, by the pin being driven back and coming back off the kickback. And in the ABC some years ago, there was over 136 7-10s splits picked.
How many?
137. It's in the record book. That's over about 90 days of bowling.
Steve is still ahead in this match. Comes right back with a strike. So even if Chase were to start stringing the strikes together, why, Nagy could stay ahead by doing the same thing. And Steve was leading by 21 pins going into this game. Bob Chase with a strike up in the 5th. A late moving ball gives him his double. If Nagy keeps hitting, why, I don't think we're going down to the wire, but if he opens it again, well, let's see what Chase does here in the 7th. Not try to anticipate too much. Got that ball out there nicely. 3 in a row. How's that for a comeback? After a miss and a split in the 3rd and 4th frames, Chase doesn't want to go home. He wants to stay around. He's got 3 in a row, and Nagy knows that he's in the spot right here. They can't play it safe in this instance, can they? Why do they got to go for it, right?
Go for broke from here, Jack. They're throwing. In fact, I'll bet Steve zips this one.
He got it out there looking for a double. Uh-oh. But that's what Bob Chase said, too. Uh-oh.
I think it'll be interesting to see Steve and how they generate this enthusiasm, to see where he runs this time. He's liable to be out on Highway 66 with this next pitch.
He's looking for 3 in a row, trying to come back after that 5th frame split. Bowling in the 8th frame. Let out a yell. They got this for him. He wanted that one. So he matched the 3-bagger of Bob Chase. Bob's just got to keep pouring him in there.
Some of these kids really jump around, don't they?
The winner of this match takes on Ray Orff next week.
If you don't think these pros watch what's happening, Steve is bending over and looking over at the scoreboard to see
Figure
how
out the
things are going.
possibility, right. See when he can let up, if at all. Chase looking for 4 in a row. He keeps the pressure on him. That's an 8th frame strike for Bob Chase. Going into the 9th. This 9th one's so important. 29 pins down is Chase. He could go on to a 236 game. Steve Nagy 244, and Nagy started this game with a 21-pin advantage. So it just depends on who does what in this 9th and 10th. 9th frame, looking for 5. What'd you start to say?
Like we're always commenting about his follow-through, and he really flipped that ball, and I think that's what helped him, Jack. It brought the ball in.
You mean he did or didn't follow through?
No, he did, and with a flip at the end there.
Mm-hmm. Now Nagy looking for 4 in a row. Chase has 5. Uh-oh. Pretty fortunate to get away from that one. He almost had the 6-7. Leaves the 6-pin. And he can't afford to miss this one, nor can he afford to take it for granted. There's his mark in the 9th frame.
Jack, I don't want to say anything, but this is a
Could be
good
a
chance
tie.
could end up in a tie. We need a bunch of strikes, but these boys can get them.
See what Nagy does. This is his roll-off. There's a strike. Gives him 193 through the ninth. 223 if he hits the next two. Bob Chase could bowl 236, so a strike here would close him out. Strike here would end it. Strike in a big count now, huh?
Yeah, 640. He has a possible 641, Jack, if he gets 223. And when we look at Bob Chase, the most he could get and could get 633. So the difference is would be 8 pins in favor of Nagy.
So he needs a big count right here.
Yes. He did it again, Jack. There's no decision on something like that because actually the ball did not go across the foul line. So this is part of Steve Nagy's makeup. He knows he's got this in the bag, so you can bet he'd pull something like that.
Scared the daylights out of me. What if he had fouled after doing that? There's 9 pins and that wins it. What a hot dog. What a hot dog. Of course, he did that on purpose. I don't think Chase would mind because the match is over anyhow.
What do you think he did? He didn't do that on deliberate. He was nervous. He dropped that ball.
Yeah.
No,
And I've got 10 300 games to make that.
This is a favorite Nagy trick.
You sure woke the audience up to say that. There's a strike for Chase. He's going to go down like a champion. That's 6 in a row for him. He could go on to a 236 game, which would match his previous high.
Well, it's interesting, Jack, and I know we can't do it, but recalling when he started out and he broke his shoestring, I'm sure the lady that is wearing that shoestring is relieved now because she's been wearing it around her ankle for 4 weeks.
Trying to get another one. He's not going to get up there. Leaves the 1-2-4. 223 if he brings these back.
Be interesting if he
Maybe
would leave
620.
one of them for another tie game there, 222.
He didn't. 223 and 620. And so Steve Nagy entered the third game with a 21-pin advantage. He hangs on to most of it, and despite a string of strikes, 6 in a row by Bob Chase, Steve Nagy wins the match by 20 pins. Well, the match is over for this week in Top Star Bowling with Steve Nagy the winner, 640 to 620. And each week we have a young lady who is a graduate of the John Robert Powers School of Modeling and the Pat Allen Agency here in St. Louis to award the prize money. And this week the young lady is Rhonda Lee. Rhonda?
Hello. Very glad to be here.
And you have some money for our, I don't like the term loser, but Bob, I guess that's what you are, huh?
Well, win some and lose some, Jack.
And here's your $500 and congratulations. Beautiful match.
Thank you very much, Rhonda.
Now you have to watch out for this guy, Rhonda. Be careful. Careful what you say.
And here's your $1,000. Beautiful.
Honey,
Yeah. I'm old enough.
you're old enough you can say that? I suppose so. Rhonda, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And there we have it. How about a nice hand for our contestants here? Steve, congratulations. And Bob, it's been nice having you here. All good things have to come to an end. Huh?
Certainly. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure, Jack.
Thank you, too.
Did you drop that ball on purpose?
No, it slipped out of my hand. I thought I needed one more.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Bob Chase has been here for 4 weeks. How about a hand for him? A sincere remark right here, and I can't go away without saying this. Everybody here at Marlboro has been very taken with the personality of Bob Chase. They've enjoyed having him around. They wanted me to say that. And now next week, it's Steve Nagy and another youngster for you to take on, and Ray Orff. It should be a fine match. We'll be back here at the Marlboro Lanes for more Top Star Bowling next week. Hope you'll tune in. Speaking for Whitey Harris, Jack Buxus. Thanks for your time this time. Till next time, so long. Top Star Bowling has been presented by equipment by Brunswick, the #1 name in bowling. Top Star Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Council.